is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the Northern Bahamas remains on high alert as all eyes are on a weather system which meteorologists say continues to impact portions of the country. A severe thunderstorm warning going into effect for the islands of Bimini, Abaco, and Grand Bahama and adjacent waters. Forecasters predicting that this system could be with us throughout the weekend and are calling on residents to exercise extreme caution. Joan Davis-Roll has this story.
The weather on Grand Bahama wreaking havoc today and affecting some crucial services here on this northern island. The system forcing the closure of both public and private schools, blanketing the island with torrential rain, poor visibility, strong winds, and raging seas, with increased threat of flooding. All are part of what meteorologists described as a severe weather system. Forecasters not taking any chances, putting the country on alert hours in advance that a potential storm lay in our path. Meteorologists at the Department of Meteorology here on Grand Bahama, Trinidad Tynes.
We had a strong system that moved into the area sometime this morning over the course of the morning, but brought a lot of widespread showers, but sometimes were heavy at times with gusty winds. We are anticipating that the weather will be with us at least through the overnight period, possibly into the early part of tomorrow morning, because we also have a trough that's going to be moving, will reinforce some of the shower activity for us.
Now, what's contributing to this weather and these adverse conditions?
Well, there's a lot of big talk right now with the El Nino effect. Also, if you were keeping up with the American weather news, there is a winter storm called Jonas that is out there. And as a matter of fact, this frontal boundary that is in the area is attached to that low pressure system that is up into the mid-Atlantic states. We are at the tail end of it, and because we are in the tropics, instead of snow, we get rain.
The inclement weather becoming an all-day affair as residents were called on to stay indoors and boaters advised to stay in safe harbor. The weather system adversely impacting a sector of the airline industry. While two big Sunwing jetliners from Canada made it into Grand Bahama in the storm, the weather grounding smaller flights, shutting down operations for private operators.
We're looking at winds is a major factor, visibility is a major factor, and also the cloud heights is a major factor. We had some reports of the clouds being in the range of 1,000 feet, so that's automatic, being mostly shut down for the airport. Any commercial airline could probably make it through. They are probably allowed to because the commercial airlines, their criteria is a little different than what the airport is. If the conditions are not right, the first persons or entity that will be affected at the airport will be the small aircraft. They're much more small and lighter, and then most of the pilots, they are only rated for visual flight rules versus instrument flight rules. Now, some of the pilots here are the more seasoned veterans. They are instrument rated, and the aircraft also have to be instrument rated as well. But the first problem, and a rule of thumb for me as the observer on duty and the other ladies that work with us here, we are a family here. And most of the pilots we know very closely, so we wouldn't want to send them, even if the conditions is marginal for them to make it out. We try to discourage them on going because we don't want our family to go missing or disappear or some accident happen.
Tynes says when it comes to Mother Nature, every precaution should be taken. After all, it's better to be safe than sorry. Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
Well, all eyes are still on the weather as meteorologists forecast a wet, windy, and cold weekend. Our Sabrina Brown took to the streets today as conditions began to deteriorate.
Residents of Grand Bahama faced with hazardous weather once again as dark clouds, heavy downpours, and high winds blanketed the island early Friday morning. Meteorologists say the bad weather was brought on by a strong cold front approaching the area. The weather pattern is expected to be over the northern Bahamas throughout the weekend. The Department of Meteorology issuing a special warning about the severe weather. Residents were warned to stay indoors and boaters were asked to stay in port. The adverse weather conditions forcing the closure of public and private schools and some government offices around the island. Many residents taking out the rain gear and went about their business as usual. Local businessman Tony Macaroni Hanna, who operates a count stand on Taino Beach, was open for business despite the deteriorating conditions.
It's not good for business, but it's good weather.
A tour bus stopping by the beach with a group of visitors from Argentina and the United States. Although it was not the ideal day for the beach, this couple from Oklahoma enjoyed it nonetheless.
I think it's just like Oklahoma. Just like Oklahoma.
Is that good or bad?
That's wonderful. I mean, we're used to it.
Wind and rain.
Wind and rain.
Yes. Yes.
Are you loving it?
Oh yeah.
Well, this is exciting. This is very exciting. And the beautiful beach. How can you not beat the look at those waves?
It is beautiful.
Beautiful. Absolutely. I think my hair is really enjoying it.
Meteorologists say be sure to keep those jackets, sweaters, and blankets nearby, as temperatures will get quite chilly throughout the weekend. Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Sabrina. Well, the frequent downpours associated with this weather system already creating a bit of a challenge in some portions of the island. We traveled to the Western District today to get an idea of conditions there. The Western District is one of the areas on Grand Bahama that's usually hardest hit during adverse weather conditions. Our news team headed west this afternoon to see how this weather system was impacting settlements in that district. Seas were choppy and there was intermittent rain, but there was no sign of flooding at the Fishing Hole Road. Vehicles traversing the area rather smoothly without any challenges. However, there was some flooding in the 8 Mile Walk community. Around 2 o'clock this afternoon, as a result of the consistent downpours, water had already settled in the front of some homes and businesses. Residents say this weather system was unexpected, but they were hopeful and they are hopeful that it will pass without causing any significant damage. Now, weather conditions are expected to go downhill tonight with high winds and possible thunderstorms. These conditions can create a problem for the electricity supplier on the island. Our Joan Davis Roll tells us that the power company is keeping a watchful eye on this situation.
The Grand Bahama Power Company closely monitoring weather conditions on this northern island. In a release issued by the company states that they will continue to monitor the progress of the pending storm and pay close attention to all weather advisories. Local power officials say they have activated their emergency service restoration plan, which will enable them to respond safely and efficiently. Grand Bahama Power Company wishes to inform the public that the company will not be performing a planned shutdown of their system. The company will continue to provide power to our customers as long as the wind speeds and safe operations allow. GBPC urges customers to prepare for the impact of the pending storm and to make safety a priority. In the event of inclement weather, customers are asked to remain indoors as there may be flooding, down power lines, and trees. Persons wishing to report down power lines, poles, or outages should contact the GBPC emergency line at 352-8411. Joan Davis Roll, ZNS Network News.
Well, the adverse weather associated with an approaching cold front is also impacting other islands in the northern Bahamas. Earlier today, our Italia Hall spoke with Administrator Lavon Harris Smith in South Abaco.
Ms. Smith, can you give us an update on weather conditions in Abaco at this time?
Certainly. The skies are overcast. They have been from 4 days this morning. The winds are picking up a bit. They are about 15 to 18 knots. There is light rain and businesses as usual in Sandy Point. Now, in the Cherokee area, the winds are more gusty. They're really experiencing hard rain.
Are all government offices closed? What about schools as well?
All of the schools are closed in the south. The government, the administrator's office, the staff were relieved for 3 o'clock. Well, the schools are closed. The clinic, however, should be open for another hour. I just hope that everyone in the northwest Bahamas be safe and trust God to get through whatever it is we are going through.
Now, weather conditions began to deteriorate late this afternoon. We spoke with Charles Moss, the administrator for that district, just a short time ago.
Mr. Morris, can you give us an update on the weather conditions in central Abaco at this moment?
Right now, there's no rain, but we've had some very strong downpours. It breaks and then it starts again. The wind is kind of lighting up now, so we don't have much wind going on, but we're certainly expecting. I'm looking into the harbor now, and I can see that there's a rain coming from across the harbor, so we're expecting some more rain. But right now it's just overcast. The wind is kind of calm. There are some private businesses that's still open, but government offices are closed along with schools. Food stores are a bit crowded. Also, we had a disaster preparedness committee meeting this morning. All agencies, government, non-governmental agencies are on board. So we're pretty much prepared if anything was to happen, if the weather was to go south on us.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just want everybody to be safe and continue to pay attention to the weather reports.
Now, over in Bimini, that island was feeling the impact from the strong weather system from early afternoon. We spoke with Administrator Oscar Monroe about the conditions there.
It is still raining lightly. The rain has ceased a bit from earlier today, but at this moment, like I said, still raining lightly. And the winds are about 30 miles an hour. I'm driving by the ocean side right now. You know, there are still waves and white caps. We imagine the sea is about 6 to 8 feet. I'm just driving around, so bear with me a little bit. Yeah, the sea is about 6 to 8 feet. The top of the trees are swaying in the breeze. And like I said, the sky is overcast and it continuously rains, but right now we had a little lull. And about 20 minutes after a half hour, we get a more heavier downpour. The government school is closed. We have a private school. I understand that they were supposed to get out at 12. I'll check on that in a minute. The government offices are still open, but we are watching the weather, and we are constantly in contact with each other. We are standing by, and we're going to monitor the weather. And the chief consular came out, and we have collaborated. And as we speak, he and I we are riding around just to make sure that everything is good and everybody is safe.
Stay with us, the Bahamas tonight. The Northern Edition continues right after this.